Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom surrounded by deep forests and cold mountains, there lived a wise and powerful king. He ruled his people with justice and kindness, and everyone in the land loved him. But despite all his glory, the king carried a silent sorrow. He had only one daughter, Princess Alara, and she was cursed before she was even born. When the queen was expecting a child, an old woman appeared at the palace gates. She begged for food and shelter, but the guards turned her away. When the king learned of it, he ordered them to bring her in, but it was too late. The old woman had vanished, leaving behind a whisper in the wind. Because kindness came too late, sorrow will guard your joy. Months later, the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby girl. But on the same night, a dark shadow passed over the moon, and the newborn let out a strange cry, part human, part echo of something unknown. The king summoned healers, priests, and magicians, but no one could explain it. The child grew up healthy and gentle, but as she turned 16, the curse began to show its power. Every night at midnight, the princess would fall into a deep, death-like sleep. Her body would grow cold, and her face pale as snow. No one could wake her until dawn. The royal doctors feared she might never wake one night, so they begged the king to keep her under watch. One day, a wise traveler visited the castle. He listened to the king's story and said gravely, "The curse will reach its end soon, but to protect her life, you must lock her inside a chest of oak when the clock strikes 12. If she is left outside, the darkness will claim her forever." The king was horrified, but he had no choice. That night, he had a chest built of solid oak, lined with silk and gold. When midnight came, the princess lay inside, calm and peaceful, and the lid was closed. The king himself locked it with 3 golden keys and placed the chest inside a guarded chamber. Days passed. Each night, the chest would tremble slightly as if someone moved inside, but the next morning, the princess would wake unharmed and smiling. Yet the curse continued for years, and the king's hair turned white with fear and worry. One stormy night, lightning flashed over the castle, and thunder shook the walls. The guards on duty heard a strange sound, like soft weeping coming from the chest room. When they entered, the chest was glowing faintly. They wanted to tell the king but feared his anger, so they said nothing. The next morning, Princess Alara looked tired. "Father," she whispered, "someone called my name last night." A voice from the dark. It said, "Your time has come." The king trembled. "Don't fear, my child. No darkness can reach you here." But deep inside, he knew the curse was nearing its end. The knight's courage. In that same kingdom lived a young knight named Aaron. He was brave but humble, known not for his strength but for his heart. When he heard of the princess's curse, he vowed to help the king, not for reward, but for compassion. The king, desperate for hope, accepted his offer. "If you can guard her chest tonight and keep her safe until dawn, I shall call you my son," he said. That night, as the storm raged again, Aaron entered the chamber. The golden chest sat in the center, candles flickering around it. He sat beside it, holding his sword. As midnight struck, the chest began to shake violently. The air grew cold. Then, a whisper filled the room, soft and haunting, "Free me, or she will never wake." Aaron's heart pounded. "Who are you?" he demanded. The voice replied, "The curse is bound by fear. Open the chest, and you shall see the truth." But the king had forbidden anyone to open it. Aaron hesitated, yet the sound of the princess crying from within broke his heart. Against his fear, he lifted the lid. A cold wind burst out, extinguishing the candles. Inside lay the princess, pale, lifeless, but beautiful. And behind her, a dark figure rose, a shadow with glowing eyes. "You fool," it hissed. "She belongs to me." Aaron raised his sword. "You'll not have her." He swung at the darkness, but his blade passed through it. The shadow laughed, a sound that echoed like 1,000 screams. "Love cannot defeat me," it whispered. "Then I'll show you courage," Aaron said and stepped into the chest. He held the princess in his arms and prayed aloud. "If her life is the price, then take mine instead." The shadow let out a scream so loud it shook the castle. Light burst from the chest, filling the room with warmth. When the king and his guards arrived, they found the chest open, and inside, the princess was alive, her eyes wide with tears. But Aaron was gone. The breaking of the curse. When morning came, the princess told her father everything, the voice, the darkness, and the night's sacrifice. The king wept, for he had lost the bravest soul in his kingdom. That night, the princess dreamt of a garden filled with light. In the center stood Aaron, smiling. You broke the curse, he said. Fear dies when love is stronger. Live your life without fear, Alara, that is the gift you gave me. When she awoke, she found a single white feather on her pillow, glowing faintly, like the last trace of his spirit. The curse was gone forever. The chest remained in the castle as a reminder of courage, love, and the price of doing what's right, even when it's forbidden. Years later, when Princess Alara became queen, she ruled with the same heart that Aaron had shown, brave, kind, and full of hope. She built a sanctuary for travelers and called it, the Knight's Haven, where people could rest safely no matter who they were.